Hello everyone, this is Joseph. You're watching Credit Commit, where we're committed to helping you build credit. And we're going to go over how to build credit in 2022. This is going to be divided into a couple videos just to keep the length down so it's not like a 2-hour video or an hour video. And it is going to be cut up into different segments. We are going to start off with going over the blueprint action plan. It's something I created back in 2019, but it's still relevant to this day, and I am going to have an updated copy for you guys. Link is in the description to download it. I'm also going to give you the cheat sheet and also the letter to dispute inaccurate information, which we are going to go over in this video today, how to create it and different wording you can use. And if you are new here, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. Also hit the thumbs up button and also drop a comment. Put an emoji, a fire emoji, 100 emoji. Just put any emoji and hit the thumbs up. That's all I'm asking for you guys to do in order to share this video so that way it gets to more viewers. So we are going to go over those things in this video. It is going to be discussing how to build your credit for 2022. Everything here is up to date. There are some things that needed to be changed from the last time I did a series like this, because like my Jewelers Club and things like that are no longer working in order to build credit. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this updated version. So make sure you stay to the end as well. At the end of this video, I am gonna give some bonus tips for the people that actually watch the whole video. So basically, you're gonna get the letters for what we're doing. So when we get to the dispute video, to dispute collections, you are going to get the collections letters for like medical, stuff like that. So those letters are going to come. It's just going to be part of the series so things do make sense as I'm pulling it up on the screen for you. I do want to change the format of the videos I put out. All the prior videos were more like fast-paced, jump cut. These I want to take a little bit more slow, where it's more natural, where I'm just like talking to you and I'm also pulling up stuff on the screen so you're able to see it, so you see exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm walking you through it rather than just telling you, oh, get a dispute letter and dispute. I'm actually pulling it up on the screen and going through it with you, so that way you have a way better idea of what's going on rather than me just saying stuff to you, oh, do this, do that, do that. I'm going to show you guys, so I guess let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing I am going to pull up is the blueprint action plan here. So I do got that pulled up. If y'all take a look at my screen here, and I am an OG in the game. I started this channel back in August of 2018 and dropped my first video, looks like September 7th of 2018. So I've been doing this credit thing for some years now. I know there's a whole bunch of new credit people out. I've been doing this for a long time, but we're gonna go ahead and get right into this blueprint action plan here. All right, so now that I have the blueprint action plan up, the first thing you're gonna see is the cover. We're gonna go down. So the first step you want to take within this blueprint action plan. So if you see here, it says steps. So it's like step 1, step 2. And these are the actions you take based on the answers to the question. So step 1, it's about open loans or credit cards. Yes, I have a loan only. So if you have a loan only, like a student loan or a car loan, then you're going to want to get a secured credit card. Or it says, yes, I have a credit card only. So if you only have a credit card, you're going to want to get a loan. The reason for this is you're going to want different credit mixes. So you're going to want a credit card, you're going to want a loan, you're going to want an open-ended card. Next video in this credit series, I'm going to go over 5 credit lines that you can add. That would give you the perfect mix where you're getting the credit cards and you're also getting the open-ended card, you're also getting the loan. So the next video, we are going to go over that. But that's going to be the first step you're going to want to take, is to add positive things to your account before you go into the disputing process. And the reason for this is because you want positive things reporting to it. Because if you go into the disputing process and you take everything off and you don't have anything reporting, then you did more damage than you did good. So we always want to start with actually adding things to your credit report. The next step you're going to want to do after you add the items is dispute inaccurate information. You want to basically do these things at the same time. So when you send out the letters to dispute the inaccurate information, you are going to want to be adding these positive accounts as well. All the positive accounts, I would suggest to add them the same day if possible. That would be the best thing you can do. So that way your age of credit history can age at the same time. We'll go over that in a minute. But that's just something to keep in mind, that if you're going to add these trade lines, which are going to come up in the next video, you're going to want to do them pretty much all at once, if possible. So the second step, like I said, is the inaccurate info. We do got a letter for that here, and we're gonna go over that in a second. But first, we're gonna go over the cheat sheet after this. So step 3 in the process of rebuilding your credit is gonna be basically going over any late payments or any like goodwill letters. So once you add these credit cards and loans, and once you get all the inaccurate information off, then we're gonna go into disputing the collections. And it's right here. Yes, I have late payments. Send goodwill letters to the lenders, which we would go over as well. And you are going to get access to some goodwill letters. And then right here it says, yes, I have accounts and collections. You're going to want to send validation letters basically to the collection agencies as well as the credit bureaus. So I'm going to have those letters for you as well. And right here, if you have late payments and collections, then you're going to want to send letters for both. You're going to want to send letters, goodwill letters to the lenders, and you're also going to want to start the dispute process. You're going to want to do this all at once and kind of just blitz the situation. We will go over this further in step 3 once we get to that video and we start disputing. I'm not going to go super into detail. I'm just kind of giving you an overview of what to expect from this series. And then, all right, we go to step 4. Step 4 is going to be your utilization. Ultimately, you're going to want the utilization at 9%. That's going to be perfect. But if you want to bring it down little by little, then you can kind of do that. If you do it at 30%, you're kind of just average. If you go to that 9%, you're going to be good. Anything lower, it's just icing on the cake at that point. And then I did want to go over these hard inquiries. So the hard inquiries, we are going to have a video on that, how to remove them. There's a way of removing them fast, but we're going to go over all that in a different video. This video is just that overview. So step 5 would be removing hard inquiries. The most you're going to want is about 1 or 2 a year. You really don't want over 2 a year. You can get a lot more inquiries, but we'll go over that in another video, because there's ways where you could have like 1 inquiry for the year, but you could have 1 per credit bureau. So that way you're basically getting pulled, and say this credit card pulls TransUnion and this one pulls Experian and this one pulls Equifax. We do have a list as well for the credit cards where you're able to pull from and where they actually check the credit report. That when we get to that video, I will have a download link so that way you're able to download that. All right. And let me go over the credit cheat sheet. And again, I do have some bonus tips at the end of this video if you stay to the end. And they are going to be kind of important depending on your credit report. So I hope you all stay to the end. All right. So on this cheat sheet, right, this is what you're going to get access to as well for the download. It basically shows you as an example here. This is exactly how you're going to lay out the collections. And on this cheat sheet, you can see, okay, you need the creditor's name, which is right here. This is just an example, obviously. And then you're going to want your account number. Usually you don't get the full account number when you pull your credit. You're going to get like something like this as an example. So I went ahead and I added it as an example. And then you're going to need a reason, like delete this unverified and inaccurate account. I gave you 5 different reasons that you can use once we get there. Once we get into collections, I'll go more over this. But on the cheat sheet, you do get some reasons there. And you'll understand once we get to the full video of this why that's important. And then I also have reasons here for other things like the inquiries, late payments, bankruptcy, and repo. If you ever got your car repoed, you need it all. Yeah. I am going to have a pro version that has like over 25 reasons for collections, over 25 reasons for inquiries, over 25 reasons for late, over 25 reasons for bankruptcy, over 25 reasons for repos, and other things like reasons for student loans if you want to dispute those. That's going to be in a pro version of this. If that's something you want, it's optional. If you want to just, stick to some of these, that's 100% fine. But if you want to support this channel, there is going to be a pro version if you want to support us. That's going to be there. But this is super cool because, again, it is just a cheat sheet. And you can pair this with the blueprint action plan that I put together. I actually made this action plan back in 2018. And I actually referenced it in my first video that I dropped on the Credit Commit channel back in 2018. And I'm actually, going over it. By the time you download this, it may look just a little bit different. And I may add and remove a couple of items from this. But it's pretty much going to be kind of similar because not a lot has changed as far as the way of disputing it and the way you build credit. It just hasn't really changed. There's companies that came and went, like My Jewelers Club is no longer. So you no longer have that $5,000 credit limit that you're able to add to your account for $100 a year. That's gone. And let's go ahead and let's take a look here at this inaccurate info letter. This is something I am going to be linking as well. So on this letter, I just typed it up actually before this video. I sat here and just typed it out. And so at the top, you're going to want to just put the date. So like today, I would put 2-6-20. Boom. You would put the bureau's name. So whichever credit bureau this is, if this is Equifax, you'll put Equifax. If this is Experian, TransUnion, you would put their name here. Then you would put their address, their city, and their zip code. Which I'm gonna end up including a document for that as well. So there would be a link for that document. When you get all of these, there's gonna be another document that you're able to download that has that information. And then it's gonna say Dear Credit Bureau Name. Make sure you change that. Make sure you put the actual credit bureau name. So put like Dear TransUnion or whatever. Or you could put like Dear or To Whom May Concern, whatever, however you're going to start it. And then it just says, I recently reviewed my credit report and found inaccurate information reporting. I attached my current driver's license with the correct information as well as my social security for verification purposes. So what you're going to want to do as well is make copies of your ID and your social security card, like one on top of the other. So you would just make copies of that, or you would scan it like your ID and your social security card. You need to send this to the credit bureaus, or they're not going to change anything. They're not going to take your dispute serious because you're not verifying who you are, your identity. But anytime you're sending any dispute letters, you're going to want a copy of these. So if you don't have access to a printer on a regular basis, then you're going to want to probably go somewhere and make about like 15 copies of your social security number and your ID, depending on how much you need to dispute, because you're going to need to send this to every credit bureau. So just this one alone right here, doing this letter, you're going to send it 3 times to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So that's three copies you're going to use just for one letter. So if you're going to be disputing inquiries, you're going to be disputing collections, things like that, you're going to want at least 15 to 20 of these copies of your driver's license and your social security card, because you're going to send that every time you send a letter, only to the credit bureaus. Never, I repeat, never send this to the collection agency. If you send that to the collection agency, you just gave them all your current information. We're going to go over that. So don't jump steps. If you don't know what you're doing, don't skip any steps here and try to do this with the credit bureaus or whatever. I mean, the collection agencies, because that's just going to get you jammed up. Watch the whole series. That way you're able to do this in order, and it makes a lot more sense. So remember, this is just removing inaccurate information. This is going to be very, very important, because let's say you have some old loans or something, or some old collections that are tied to an old address, right? And if it's tied to an old address, most likely once you remove these addresses, your names and old employers and old phone numbers, because those are the things you're going to want to remove, is names, addresses, employers, and phone numbers. remove all of the old stuff and only have up to date. So there should only be one name on your credit report. It shouldn't be like your first name and your last name, and then your first name, your middle name, and your last name, and then your first name, your middle initial, and your last name. It shouldn't look like that. There should only be one variation of your name. That's it. Same thing with your address, same thing with your employer, same thing with your phone number. One variation of everything. Everything else has to go. Because if that's tied to any of the collections, they will fall off automatically. Again, I started this journey back in about 2018, and when I first did this, before I did any disputes, it knocked off 2 collections from my account just by doing that, by removing the inaccurate information. And I didn't even have to dispute it because the name was a different variation. It was actually a wrong spelling because when I was younger, somebody used my aunt used my information and put like light bills in my name. So those did go into collections, and my name was misspelled. So once I took that information off, it just dropped 2 of those collections off of my credit account. So this is going to be very important before you do anything else. Remove names, addresses, employers, and phone numbers. This is going to be important. Then you're going to, at the end of it, you're going to put your name, your address, your social security number, and your date of birth on here. You want all your information accurate because, again, this is going to the 3 credit bureaus. And this is before you start the collection. The next video is going to be me showing you the 5 accounts to add instantly. So when you add those 5 accounts, you're going to want to send this letter out, and you're going to get, it's going to be about 30 days. So right here it says, once you remove, can you please send me an updated copy of my credit report? It's important to have this line in there because you want them, any changes they make, you want them to send you a copy of the updated version. So if they didn't remove something, you want a copy that they didn't remove it or whatever. So that's important to keep in there. And yeah, this is pretty much what you're going to do just to kick things off. Next video, I'm going to give you those 5 trade lines to add. So subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you get notified when I drop that video. Hit the thumbs up button. I am creating a playlist for this series, so there is going to be a playlist added to this. And for the people that stuck around, and if you still are here, I'm going to give you some gems right now real quick. All right, so one thing you don't want to do is, say you have an old collection that's about 6 years old or 7 years old. If that's one of your oldest accounts, you actually would leave that on there. So if you have a collection from 7 years ago, we're not even going to dispute it. We're going to keep that on there. And that's because you're going to want to have length of credit history. Say you remove everything from your credit report and you only have those 5 new accounts that you're going to add in our next video, then that means your credit's a month old. And so your score is going to be low because your credit's only going to be a month old. So if you have that 7-year like collection or that 6-year collection, then it's going to be split in half. So now your credit will be 3 years old if it's 6 years. So if it's 6 years old and you have all these new accounts, then it's going to go in half because it's the average. So you would have a 3-year history, which is way better than removing it. If you remove it, it'll just do more damage. It's just going to lower your credit score. If you leave it there, it's not really a big problem because it's really old. So it's probably not even affecting your credit score like you think it is. Adding those new accounts is what is really going to bring it up. That's just a gem for you guys that stayed or whatever. Because it's something important. Some people will just remove everything and not even realize, like, I just damaged my credit. I should have kept that old account on there because it's an old collection from 6 years ago and it's not even going to matter. Because if I get all the rest of these things in order, then I'm going to pretty much get approved for credit cards. Because if you ever notice, if you get declined from a credit card, it'll tell you that, you know, like a delinquent account is too recent or something like that. So that's something to keep in mind.